Caroline, who have you got for us?
Well, Kamala Harris, she continues to deliver week after week, and this time she's spoken to the equally insufferable Don Lemon, and she's tried to, I don't know, verbalize something about hope. Take a look.
I really, truly believe this. We each have light inside of us. And we need to know that that is what inspires our hope as much as anything external to ourselves. And when we feel that and not allow an election or an individual to dampen that light, and instead let that light kind of carry us, in particular through moments of darkness, that we not only act on that hope, but we inspire that hope in each other.
She also said something about hope should be a verb as well, and it is a verb, but anyway,
I don't know, and I just sort of realized it after we played these two segments next to one another. There's absolutely no connection at home, anybody, between Winston Peters talking about people smoking dope and what Kamala Harris was just saying there. No connection.
I think she has a little bit of a
thought through the day, maybe a Chardonnay or 7. But hey, we got to talk about this because this is a serious Wally. It's not a grab, but King Charles III has made a very big change to the way the monarchy works and what the king's role is, and I think this is disgraceful. He has changed his...
The constitutional shift in the monarchy. Has King Charles rewritten the Crown's mandate? The sovereign crown of the United Kingdom carries centuries of weight, balancing constitutional tradition against the demands of a modern society. When the Crown quietly adjusted its public responsibilities in the sovereign grant, defining the monarch's mandate as protecting the space for faith within a multi-faith nation, it sparked immediate debate across the political spectrum. Welcome to Britain Underneath, the home where we untangle the hidden mechanics, power plays, and quiet revolutions reshaping British politics. Before we dive into this royal dilemma, do take a brief moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Your subscription genuinely helps us bring you mature, in-depth political analysis every week. So, let us dive straight into what this shift really means for the realm.
His role from being the defender of the faith, i.e. the Anglican Church of England, to become the guy who protects faith, quote, within the multi-faith nation. Now, it is an entirely new role that Caleb and Caroline, I think, entirely undercuts centuries of English history, also undercuts, frankly, the entire purpose of the monarch.
Well, the Church of England is rather important to the royal family, is it not? And he's meant to be was the defender of the faith. He is at the top of the tree of the Church of England. How can you be in that position and then say, well, it is now my role to defend all faiths? Surely the faith that you believe in and the one that you are meant to represent is the faith. And the king is basically taking the point of view that, well, you know, all faiths are equal. I hate to break it to him that they're not, and the one that he's allegedly involved in is the one that he ought to be defending. But it is cultural rot. I mean, if even the king cannot identify his country's official religion and defend that as the country's official religion, what hope has the UK?
We have a real
Caroline, it's a massive disillusion of the English identity.
It's a capitulation to what has become the Islamification of that society. For someone whose role was defender of the faith, the supreme governor of the Church of England, to, I would say, abdicate on his responsibility here. I don't think that's putting too fine a point of it, but we've seen this happening. I think the last time I was on Outsiders was around Easter, and he didn't deliver an Easter message, but instead delivered one for Ramadan, and had done that for the last couple of years. So we've seen this move coming.
I think this is much more serious than a Wally, but we did have to talk about it at some point in the program. Who do we like for the Wally of the week, Caroline?
Got to be the king.
Yeah, I think so.
That's 3-0 for His Majesty King Charles III. I just think it's a disgrace. I actually think that we are in a constitutional crisis, potentially, if people want to push it, and I reckon they should.
The phrase defender of the faith has been bound to the British monarch since the era of the Tudors. At the coronation, the king swore a solemn oath to maintain the Protestant Reformed religion established by law. Yet, the reality on the ground in contemporary Britain is vastly different from the 17th century. Society has become secular, diverse, and religiously pluralistic. For decades, Charles signalled his personal desire to bridge these worlds, expressing a broader vision of spiritual guardianship long before ascending the throne. Recent public engagements, including official visits to notable religious sites such as the eco-friendly Cambridge Central Mosque, reflect this evolving posture. During these visits, the sovereign emphasised the importance of integrated faith activity and community cohesion. To supporters, this is pragmatic modern diplomacy. It positions the monarchy as a unifying force capable of bringing together a divided nation. In an era marked by cultural tensions, a monarch who actively fosters goodwill among different communities can be seen as essential to social stability. However, critics view the matter through a far more skeptical lens. Traditionalists and constitutional scholars argue that the crown cannot simply reinvent its foundational purpose. The monarch acts as supreme governor of the Church of England, a constitutional position established by law. Critics contend that diluting this mandate weakens the foundational heritage that underpins British institutions, legal history, and national identity. When official language shifts from defending a single established faith to protecting a general space for all faiths, it raises fundamental questions about whether the monarchy is maintaining its constitutional obligations or gradually stepping away from them.
Welcome back. Well, as Brits celebrate Easter Sunday today, they woke to a simple message from the royal family saying, "Happy Easter, he is risen." Now, that post comes after backlash over the palace's announcement King Charles would not put out a personal Easter message, despite having done so for the past 2 years. Joining me now is Sky News contributor Kosha Gada. Kosha, this decision not to put out an Easter message from the King, that's annoyed a lot of people, especially with the King and Queen heading to the traditional Easter service in Windsor still. And a lot of people have been pointing out online in particular that the King did issue a public Ramadan message this year as well as last year. So why do you think he decided to skip an Easter one this year?
It is something that's definitely generating a lot of controversy, or some controversy, raising a lot of eyebrows for all the reasons you stated, Caroline. And we can only guess why that is. Like, is he maybe trying to give a nod to multiculturalism, and that's why he did the Ramadan thing and not Easter? Defenders will point out that the Easter message is traditionally not something that the monarchs always do. Queen Elizabeth herself only did it once in her 70-year reign during COVID in 2020. However, he has done it twice. He was very happy to do the Ramadan thing. And the other thing, too, that's important to remember is there is not separation of church and state in the UK the way, for example, it is in America. And so the monarch is the supreme governor of the religion and the defender of the faith. And for that reason, I think it's irked people that it feels like a little bit of an unforced error. And at a minimum, if you're going to do Ramadan, you probably, as the monarch of the UK, want to do the same for Easter, which is the holiest day in the calendar for them.
Yeah, exactly. And as you point out, he's the defender of the faith. That is his apparent title. So strange she's not defending the faith here, I guess. I mean, not exactly, but with an Easter message. Look, let's stay in the UK. Former senior Tory cabinet minister Michael Gove, he's made somewhat of a cringe confession, admitting he spends quite a lot of time Googling pictures.
This controversy highlights a larger political tension playing out across Westminster and the broader public. On one side stands the instinct to preserve legacy, continuity, and institutional heritage. On the other lies the push toward modernisation, inclusivity, and rapid demographic adaptation. The monarchy sits directly at the centre of this cultural tug-of-war. If the crown adapts too slowly, it risks appearing irrelevant to younger, more diverse generations. If it moves too quickly, it risks alienating its most loyal traditional core. What makes this dynamic fascinating is the delicate constitutional tightrope the monarch must walk. Unlike politicians, the king cannot enter party political debate or campaign for policy changes. Every phrase in a royal report, every official engagement, and every public speech is carefully analysed for symbolic weight. When changes occur in official wording, they are rarely accidental. They signal a deliberate direction from the palace, testing how much modernisation the British public is willing to accept.
Of the British Home Secretary online. Gove has called Shabana Mahmood gorgeous and said his interest is both political and romantic. Have a look.
I do worry, though, that if Shabana Mahmood had access to my browsing history, she would discover that quite a lot of my browsing is me typing in Shabana Mahmood images or Shabana Mahmood history.
Really? Watch out, Shabana Mahmood!
Oh, yes.
Well, like a political crush or a crush?
Oh, both. I think she's gorgeous, but there you go.
Kosha, I'm not quite sure what to make of this. Is this in jest? Because it seems a little bit creepy to me that he's admitting this obsession with the Home Secretary.
Yes, you took the words out of my mouth. Cringe. I would say definitely a little cringe. I don't know. Was he trying to shore up his bipartisan bona fides because she's from the other side of the aisle and he's trying to, in some weird way, be an equal opportunity offender? I'm not sure. I will say that there is a reason why many people hold politicians in not the highest regard. This doesn't help. It's sort of like just sit down. I know he's a former minister, but in general, sit down, do your job, be serious. We don't need to know or hear about this. And I think it's also a reflection of podcast culture, where everybody now goes around and sits in front of microphones for long-form interviews like that for hours and hours on end, and then they let their filter down, their mask slip, and unfortunately we get to hear all the dark and devious things that are going through their minds in the world of politics.
Some things you just don't need to hear, do you? I mean, but you're right. I think that's probably it. Let's go to the US now, where there's been this astonishing case of a woman who's been found after being missing for 32 years. 13-year-old Christina Marie Plant had vanished in Arizona back in 1994, but police say they've now identified her alive, aged 44. Kosha, I understand there's not many details being released about this, but what more can you tell us?
This is something that definitely gripped the nation, just because cold cases are uniquely tragic and they really do grip people as stories that just never have any closure. And now with modern day technology, somehow they were able to identify her. As you say, they're not releasing details beyond that. There is some reporting, not from official authorities, but People Magazine, NBC News, and others saying that she was not kidnapped, which is what the worst fear was, but that it was a case of a runaway at the time.
Well, we're going to have to end it there. I guess the mystery
continues,
Kosha. The mystery continues. Maybe we'll find out more. She wasn't kidnapped. What happened to her? Kosha, Gada, thank you.
Navigating these subtle constitutional shifts requires us to look past surface-level headlines and examine the deeper structural changes within the state. Staying informed on these subtle power plays is vital if we wish to understand where the country is heading. If you appreciate this clear, grounded approach to political commentary, please take a breath, stay informed with us, and hit the subscribe button right now. Subscribing helps our channel grow and ensures you never miss our detailed breakdowns of British current affairs.